EcoCentric Homestead, and I was challenged to enter the Shedwars by Arkansas woodcutter Mike. And I will be joining Teamwillitgrow. Even though I'm from Canada, Newfoundland, I guess we'll split North America in half, east and west. And this being my first episode, I guess it's only fitting that I show you my shed. Now this shed, 24 by 24, that's an ancient building. It used to be a hardware store or maybe a grocery store way back in the day. And it was cut in half, so it was twice as long as this. And so this is why this end is all done, because of course the other three walls were there already existing, and we had to put in a face there and put the siding on and the doors in, etc. I store my lawnmowers underneath. I have to replace this. At some point I'm likely to fall down through there and break a leg. And here's inside. Let's turn on the lights so we can see what we're doing. Now we were talking about whether sheds were organized or big enough. I mean, you gotta have a shed that's big enough that when you walk in you don't have to back out, eh? And then when you're trying to find something, you gotta organize it. So I got my wrenches and pliers, thumb wrenches put up there. I have 3 drawers with the sockets in there. Ratchet straps, manuals in that one. I didn't have much to put in this one. I got my tat and die and tape. And this is the drawer for this thing, the sand belts. Then you go over here, we got our bench vise, scroll saw, drill press, of course. Then you got the drill bits beside it. Hand saws, crowbars. Some of the stuff is missing here because I've got it in the house. I'm working in there. Still not sure about this thing. Actually, if I had my time back, I wouldn't have bought it. Why? Because the main reason, they made the belt for this an odd size. Everybody else has a general size for the belt. The saw, I mean. And so you can go and get different brands of saws in different sizes. They also only offer one size of saw blade. So what the hell? Because I wanted to get a resaw blade, right? The one that's wider. If I had my time back, I would have bought one of the more well-known brands. You gotta have a shelving system to put your paints and screws and bolts and what more on. Now, as for hanging things on the wall, one of the best things I found is over here. And eventually I'll probably do this all the way around. You see, I've got this piece of board here, and it's cut on 45 inside there. And you take these, and they slip down. Now right now I have just ones with hooks on it. But you can make a small cabinet to hang on here. It can take a lot of weight. Your tool hangers, whatever. And then whichever area of the shed you're working in, you can take them and move it around. So I would like to have that all the way around. this thing's up here because one of the brushes in it just disintegrated. And me living at the end of a rabbit trail that starts on the far side of nowhere, I got to get everything ordered in and wait for it to come. I was doing some woodworking, and I was hoping to sell some furniture, trying to stay away from social assistance. This is a miniature of one of the chairs that I made. I had the seat made for it too. I built this head of straight grain lumber. It's your basic construction lumber, 2x4 on edge. But my first table I made was this one. And so this is just some straight milled rough cut lumber, and I put it together in the shape of a workbench, and then I had a wood stove in here. And so these, they're all just what you would get in an ordinary sawmill, flat cut lumber. And when I put wood in here, that thing didn't want to stay still. I tried to flatten that table 4 times, and it's still not flat. So I said, enough of this. So that's why I built that one. That one sits there, and it doesn't move, no matter what the humidity does. Then on the bottom, that's my tools that I use most often when I'm doing woodworking. This is a good Mastercraft tool. This one I think is 8.5, and they have a 10-inch size one now. I was quite happy with that. And what I did, I took one of these metal rollers. This is a metal yardstick. And I measured it out. So I cut it off and I measured. This is 10 inches here from where the saw would cut. So if you line your board up here and cut it, you will be cutting off 10 inches all the way along. And then if I'm cutting off a bunch, say I'm cutting off a bunch here at 18 inches, I just take my clip, put it there, take the board, put it up against, cut it off, take the next board, and away to go. I don't have to continually measure. Now, speaking of self-reliance, I collect tools, not toys. Which is why I have several saws here, hand saws. I have 3, 4 in the house, I believe. I have 2 of those crowbars. I have 3 of those. I've got a full set of tools out here, except, as you can see, the staple gun that was supposed to be there is in the house. I have 2 staple guns. There's supposed to be one out here and one in the house. Buck saws. I have a triangular file, and that red one right there, I got that sharpened nice, but it's cutting on an angle. I thought I'd be able to set the teeth just by eyeballing it and using a plier, but it didn't work out. So I ordered it. I ordered a set for setting the teeth back in, well, the pandemic had been declared, and we were shutting down. Everybody was shutting down, and they're like, the expected delivery date would be June the 18th, I believe it was. Like, it's a good job I'm not in a rush for it. I have, see, I made the handle on this one, make it nice and comfortable for me working with it. I had several Hex Heads, and I shine them up. I have that one there, and then I have the pike. Of course, if you're going to do things with logs, you need a draw knife. And there's your regular hatchet over there, regular size one. Talking about coming out of the snow, Mike, do you know what that is? Snowshoes. And there's an ice auger. I have two. That's a 6-inch ice auger, and in this case is a 3-inch ice auger. If you're going just fishing smelts or trout, you take the little one. But if you're going out in the bay and you can catch some very big fish, you're going to need the 6-inch one, and then you can get fish that won't come up through it. Don't forget, you gotta have your list of poles. This is the one that they usually use for salmon catching, right here. I have some very small ones, child-sized ones, open and closed reels. I got another salmon rod here, but there's no reel on it. I do have some reels over there though to put on it. That'll be down in that little box in there by the edge. All the camping supplies. And if I can't get gas, I'm wondering if that thing will cut my meadow, because yes, it's a grass cutter, but my meadow, it's got little trees growing in it and all kinds of stuff. So I'm wondering if I can get that sharp enough to cut at my meadow at all. If anybody has experience with those, they can let me know. I have my two wheelbarrows here. Oh, shovel fell down. And one of my shovels, because I've been sifting compost here. That's the other tools. Initially, this sifting thing I had here, I made these. These are adjustable work horses. I can put them at whatever, at different heights, you see. Initially I had this. This is a table off a whole table saw, and I cut the ends. Then I could put that in it and shake it back and forth. But that wasn't working, and I come up with this. This works pretty good. My hen house. Now, you'll see piles of siding around my yard for a while yet. I got some put on there, and I will be finishing all the way around. The door is swinging now because we had rats move in town. So I have that set up there. As of yet, I didn't mark where each thing goes. The reason being, when I put this together, it was just pieces that I had, whatever I had, I put together. and it was kind of a rush to get the hen-house done. I made a fair size hen-house, but I only add this first one so you can see the two different colors there. Because this first one here, it was in first, and it's the size for 1 dozen hens and a rooster. And so then when I added this on, now this is big enough, the recommended floor space for 3 dozen hens. Because the weasel got in here and killed all my hens, then I don't have hens now. I want to wait and replace all that garbage board and make this nice. It'll be, I don't know whether it'll be plywood, or if I can find some reclaimed board like this, I'd settle with that. Anyways, I had things hung up here. This is a old cooler that you get the ice when you go to the service station. They have the coolers with bags of ice in. This is what this is, and I put my hen's feed in there. So now, you see, we had rats moving town, as I said, and what do? There's one thing about having voles and mice and that, but the only thing we could do, we had set up some traps, and then eventually they were running around the traps. We got these poisons. I put out 3 of these bags, and they were taking it, and as you can see, it's spread across here, and if I go it around, you see it's in behind the shovel. They were taking it back to their nest. Which hopefully was nice. At any rate, we haven't seen any sign of a rat in the last, I guess it's 9 days now. Initially, when that 9 days started, I had closed this door, but not all the way to. I thought, well, they can get in, and indeed they can, because if you want to get in, you see this is fresh chewing from the rats that had been going in and out. But no sign of them going in and out, so I opened the door, and still no sign. So we're hoping we got them. My neighbor got 10 in traps. There's a couple of power tools that I have. Of course, this being one of them, and lawnmowers being the other, and my chainsaw being the third. This skidoo here, it doesn't work. I kept it, and I was thinking I could fix it. But the inspiration didn't strike me. I was talking to someone one time, and they were talking about me fixing up that, and I said, yeah, the inspiration is not striking, because fossil fuel driven fun is not my ideal of a good time. Forgot to mention that. A friend gave me that. I have to see, the handle is wearing out on it. I can shine up the blade, getting nice and sharp. Scythes are actually quite easy to use. I was borrowed my neighbor's one time, and I was quite impressed with how easy it was to actually cut grass with a scythe. So, like I said, being that this is my first installment, it was only fitting that I give you a peek around at where I stored my tools. And that's it. To be self-reliant, you need a shed. You need your tools, and you need somewhere to put them. You need it big enough that you can organize it, so you can go in and you don't have to back out. You could have everything so you can reach and grab it. So that's what I've got done. I'll be on Teamwillitgrow. And this is Jotham saying see you in the next one.